Hello everybody, welcome back, and I am TheChornick, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about The Elder Scrolls 6, what the combat should be like in the game. Now, this is probably one of my biggest concerns in regards to the next Elder Scrolls 6. What I want in regards to combat is it to be more of a thriller, to it have more animations in regards to it. Maybe based upon what you're wearing, what weapons you're carrying. Depends on what animations you can do. Can you barrel through an enemy because you have heavy armor? Or could you tumble over enemies? Could you jump over them? Could you swing and swirl because you have light armor? Maybe you have daggers on, right? So that's the main thing that I would love to see in the next Elder Scrolls more than pretty much everything else in regards, I mean, besides from quests and stuff and just bigger war battles and everything, just the battles, big or small, that they're just really, really intense. And to me, that's the biggest thing for the next Elder Scrolls 6. And maybe in regards to when you're battling an enemy, your companions, and maybe even your character himself or herself, depending on if your character's voice, voice protagonist, would react to certain situations or animations that you do. For example, if you get a headshot on an enemy with an arrow, maybe your companion will be like, oh, like, nice shot, like maybe they'll respond to it or be like, oh, headshot, or great shot, and maybe if you get it, and maybe your character's voice, maybe you'd be like, ha, take it, or something. I don't know what your character would say, but I would love to see that because it would make you essentially feel a lot better about yourself, getting all these attacks and everything, getting all these headshots, and maybe you do really, really well in the game. Maybe you just feel awesome going in and doing all these tumbles and barrel rolls and twirls and just taking out enemies left and right. And then your, companions as well as yourself, you're maybe congratulating you, congratulating yourself. Maybe even your character says something that your companion does, or maybe your companion comments on something that they do. For example, if they do like get a headshot on an AI, perhaps they'll be like, "Oh, do you see that?" Or if you witness it, maybe your character will be like, "Heck yeah, that's why I hired you," or something. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to see a lot more of that in the next Elder Scrolls 6. A lot more interactions between you and your companion that you bring along. That you guys will have more interactions to what you do in battle. Now, with that being said, in Skyrim, for example, now we're going back to Skyrim, we're not going to really talk too much about Fallout 4, but even in Fallout 4, enemies felt like, cushions. They felt like stinking sponges when you shot them, or that when you slice them with your sword. You pretty much just walked in, maybe healed yourself a little bit, they'll shock you, throw a bunch of, you just throw a bunch of slashes at them, you maybe shoot them with some arrows. You just do it over and over and over and over and over again. It kind of got a little bit repetitive. So in the next game, I would highly recommend Bethesda to go in and make not just the kill at the end of the fight where you get them down to the last little bit of health, and then also there's an animation at the very end of it, which sometimes happens. I believe that animations should happen throughout a battle. Maybe when you tumble, your character focuses in on one enemy at a time, even when a lot of things are going on in the background. Perhaps in a big, huge open battle, your character will focus in on one enemy at a time. Kind of like maybe how you say like For Honor does it, or say how Horizon Zero Dawn does it, where your character, even just battling one machine in Horizon Zero Dawn, it was an intense fight, like it was insane. So even just battling a bandit, for example, in this next game, like it's you and them, and like it's more intense. It's not just like, oh, random bandit on the side of the street, just slash him down, you know what I'm saying? Even though you'll level up pretty fast in this game, and you don't have all this armor and weaponry and stuff, I still want to see the battles be a little bit more epic, even on the small scale, just going and killing some bandits, maybe be more strategic wise. Horizon Zero Dawn, I believe, is a great, just from my perspective, that's a game I played very, very recently, and I thought the combat was excellent. It looked like a movie. It was like really thriller-like. It was like, dude, you were going in, and it was just such an amazing battle and everything. Just look at the combat from that game, and like Skyrim, it just kind of felt stale after a while, especially if you were just sticking to one kind of play style where you just walk, like kind of how I do with just a sword and healing and or throwing a fireball at people, I just would love to see different animations, a lot more fluid movement. You know, I love to see a lot more just animation just throughout the battle. Just depending on what you're wearing, depending on the weapons that you have, and your companions, their animations would be different depending on the companions, whether that's multitude like we had before in Skyrim or a few like we had in Fallout. It's just like the way they move is depending on their character, who they are. But post in the comment section below what you guys believe should happen in regards to combat. Just my biggest thing is just make it more intense. Make it be like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't go and battle these people because, you know, they, you know, could just dwindle my health, and maybe getting health isn't as accessible as it was in perhaps Skyrim. Maybe you have to be a little bit more strategic. You can't just like press the start button, you know, pause the game and drink a bunch of potions and then go back into battle. Like, don't allow that to be, you know. So, you know what I'm saying? Maybe your character just slows down in motion when you're in combat, when you press the start button. Maybe it just slows down in motion, but it doesn't entirely stop the battle. I think this will really, really help in regards to that process where people will just keep spamming health potions or spamming healing, you know, spells and stuff. It's like there's limitations. Maybe you're still in battle. You don't completely stop the combat when you press the start button. When you're in combat, you know what I'm saying? So that's just another thought that Bethesda could put in there as well. If you guys have any ideas, please post it in the comment section below. Now, again, there's all sorts of different powers that you will have. I just don't want it to be the same thing over and over again, the same movements. You know, there's just different combinations with different weapons, depending on the size of the weapon, depending on the size of you, the armor that you have, how much you weigh. Like in character customization could play a factor into it as well. Just like that little thing, and like depending on maybe the higher your one-handed skill is, depending on how high your two-handed skill is, like depends on what animations you can use. You know, how many enemies you could kill at once. What skills you could essentially get as well. And that could go with the perk tree as well that we saw in Skyrim. But if there's anything that you guys again think of, please post it in the comment section below. Interactions too, like I said before, just between you and your companion. I would just love to see more friendship, like, you know, bonding between you and your companion in this next game as well. And I think combat could really play into that as well, where they're just like, wow, like, I love to be, I'm like, glad you're on my side, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be great. And so, ladies and gentlemen, can't wait to see you guys in the next video before I start slurring over my words here. But thanks for watching. If you guys love Elder Scrolls 6, please watch my Elder Scrolls 6 series. I worked a lot hard on it, so I love you all. Can't wait to see you next video, and peace off! Thank you very much.